And hey everyone, we are live. This is Mike Howerton here at Area 51. This is the Alien Factory podcast. It's our first episode. We're going to be out there with you every single week here at 10 p.m. Eastern Time. And with a lot of excitement, we're going to look back at the week and round everything up. And this week we were at COTA for the NASCAR series, and there wasn't a whole lot going on. a lot of guys weren't racing COTA. Sometimes it was hard to find an open race. But hey, we made it through the week, and here we are. So we're going to kind of wind down a little bit and just have a 1 hour discussion, kind of hang out, and we welcome you guys to participate. I've got the live chat up, so if you all want to ask any of us a question as we're going through, feel free to ask a question, and we'll be sure to answer. Our special guest for tonight, I want everybody to welcome Ken Biron. He's here with us. He's the owner and founder of Ryco Motorsports Setup Shop, and Ken, we appreciate you being with us tonight.
Yeah, thanks. I appreciate you guys having me out. I think what you have going on here is a really good thing to be connected in with the community and, to support the community through their passion with your passion. So thank you for having me.
Yeah, I like your background there. I got mine just all blurred out. I might try to add me a background here when somebody else is talking. Yours is pretty cool. I like the checkered flag. So tonight on the podcast, not only have our special guest Ken Biron, we also got the Admiral himself, Tracy Rumschlag. Tracy, what do you got to say tonight?
Drop your beer, grab your gear. The Admiral's here. Hey, it's great to have be here for the first time. Glad to be here. It's like another week. Got through another week, so we're happy about that. Glad to have Ken Biron here. I'm going to get into an interview with him, find out a little background from him, see how he started and how we got where we are with his setup shop, how that all came about. So we're looking forward to that interview. And then we'll have all our new our features this week for our videos. We'll be coming out with that the beginning of the week, too.
Hey, and you guys probably recognize Tracy, his picture, his voice already, because he has been my partner in crime in all these introduction to setup videos that we've been doing. I hope you guys have been enjoying those. We got many more to come. And Tracy, have you been enjoying that? Like, how's the video thing been going for you? I love it.
This week was amazing. I couldn't believe the response we got on some of our videos. Just little things, the little tidbits that we throw out there with the responses we get. It's just the people that have been around iRacing for a long time. We've noticed that they get a little stale. They're just tired of some of the things that they have to deal with in like the B-car garage. And being a chassis engineer, it's just stuff you have to deal with. When iRacing makes a change, it affects everybody, not just one person. So the person that's more proactive and just deals with it and works through it is obviously going to be more successful as a setup builder. And that's the big thing that we all challenge, all our setup shops and everybody. They deal with that stuff on a day-to-day basis. And like you said, complaining about it and not helping to fix the problems, just adding to the problem. So yeah, that part's been excellent. The response has been good. We're going to try to get into like the C open stuff and start getting towards those guys. We did a lot with the B in terms of some of the discrepancies and questions that we've had. iRacing's been good in getting back to us to let us know, yeah, there is a problem, there is something they may need to look into, but it's still there. And like I said, if you don't work with it, that garage becomes frustrating, and that's what we're trying to get people to understand.
Absolutely, and I also not only have some more of those setup videos coming on that series, but I'm also going to start kicking into gear our setup shop review series. We've done what I'm considering setup services, and next we're going to head into what I'm calling the setup shops. Setup services were the ones that were kind of selling you like a $10-ish monthly fee, and then give you massive amounts of setups. They weren't always the fastest, but they're stable and relatively competitive. Now we're going to shift into setup shops, and Ken here owns Ryco, but the setup shops, they're trying to sell you speed, and you're going to buy pretty much one setup pack for one car for one track per week, and so it's more expensive, but you're buying speed. So we're going to get into those reviews as well. So we got plenty more videos coming up, and just want to keep on heading down the line. We got Mr. Scott Stevens in the house, affectionately also known as Scooter. Scott, how's your week been? Have you been racing much this week? And we had COTA going on. Have you done any of those, or you just been practicing for Richmond, or have you just been sitting at home and sitting in the garage all week? What's been going on?
Well, Mike, Good to be here tonight. Good to meet you, Ken. And Tracy, it's always nice to work with you. I spent a little bit of time on Coda. I did race one race, and that was enough for me. Uh, yeah, and I did pretty good. I think I lost control twice out of all the whole race, so that wasn't bad. I never had to get my car fixed. I kept it clean. Just wasn't very fast, but it was what it was. It was a road course, and nobody likes it in a B car. And if you tried to drive the next gen car there, it was just as bad, or if not worse, than the Xfinity cars. But I didn't try the trucks because I was tired of driving the road course. So I started working on Richmond, and I've got a pretty good setup going. I think it's pretty fair. I just looked at some times. I'm getting ready to log into the practice right now and check my times against everybody else, and hopefully we can have a good time at Richmond. I'm ready for it.
Yeah, and Mr. Brian Stewart, you're here with us. You just got back into iRacing, and I just helped you buy a bunch of equipment. And but I haven't. You've been incognito this week. I had to send you a text message that said, "Hey, don't forget the podcast tonight." But I haven't seen you all week, man. What's happening this week?
Been busy around the house this week. I've been busy at work and busy at mom and dad, so I have popped in and raced a few unranked races just to kind of get used to the new set. But other than that, just been busy with other things this week, unfortunately.
Yeah, well, staying busy is not always fun, but it can be.
I'm anxious to be at Richmond this week.
I hear you.
I try to stay away from the road courses as much as I can, but I did race the Mazda race on a road course and didn't do too well, but I didn't wreck either, so that's a definite plus for me.
Yeah, I hear you, and I tell you what, I discovered a hidden gem this week. A lot of people know that. Some people know and don't know that I do a lot of road course racing as well, but I don't do it in the NASCAR stuff like the trucks and the at Next Gen and the Xfinity. Man, those things are like tanks driving them on road courses. But I like driving actual road racing on cars that are meant to go on a road course. But I found Bathurst, their Mount Panorama is one of my favorite tracks, and I like the MX-5s as well. And they were there at Bathurst, and for me, it was the perfect combination. I had a lot of fun running races at Bathurst this week in MX-5. I did some live streams. They're up on the channel if any of you guys want to check them out. But yeah, that's what I was doing this week. I haven't ran a single NASCAR race this week, but I'm going to try to slide one Xfinity race in to get a few championship points there for the series before the week's out. So that's kind of what I was doing. And I was telling some of the guys beforehand, I had a motherboard break and a bunch of my RAM slots went out of my motherboard, and I had to change all that out this week. So I've been crazy busy. So that's been my week. But anyway, I want to kind of, everybody's getting to know us. A lot of guys race with us on the track, but I think Tracy was. I'm going to turn it over to you for a few minutes, but we're going to get to know Ken a little bit here in this podcast, and let you guys learn a little bit more about him. Go ahead, Trace.
All right, thanks, Mike. We brought in Ryco Motorsports owner Ken Biron, and Ken, thanks for coming tonight. And what I'd like to do, we've been covering different setup shops, and like Mike has said, but now we're trying to get a little more personal, get your name out there of who's actually the face that runs the place. So that's what we want to do tonight. First off, thanks for coming. We appreciate you being here. And I'd like to just get a little history. How did you get started in sim racing? What attracted you to it? And what got us, or you, from where you were starting to where you are to be like into your setup shop? What made you want to get into your setup shop? Are you a setup specialist? Do you have guys that work for you? How does all that work? But let's get into you personally first. How did you get started? What was your first wheel? What was your pedals? What was your experiences like?
So my first wheel and pedals in racing was actually a 89 Mustang hatchback 4-cylinder car. I come from a 4th generation racing family. I'm originally from Michigan. Now live in the great state of Florida.
But let me hold you up there. Now, you say you come from a racing family. What did you guys race? Were you like super late models, or what? Do you dirt, asphalt?
Yeah, so we raced asphalt. My great grandfather, Harry Foote Sr. He was he's a part of the Michigan Motorsports Hall of Fame. He raced way back in the 70s and 80s. So he raced the coupes and the old Fords. And my grandfather, he raced late models, super late models, outlaw late models. And then my dad raced street stocks, template late models, sportsmans. And then myself, I started racing in the mini stocks, moved up into the street stocks, and I raced template late models up until the time that we moved here to Florida. When we moved
now
here
I'm
to
an
Florida,
Ohio boy. Did you guys get down into Ohio at all?
Oh yeah, my grandfather used to race at Columbus all the time, and Toledo.
Oh, I love that place.
We raced quite a bit down there.
Yeah, Toledo's a great place. Go ahead. Sorry, bud.
No, you're good. So we moved to Florida. My dad was diagnosed with cancer. So my parents moved to Florida. When they moved to Florida, I decided that I thought it was probably the best move for me to move with them, to be with my dad. When we moved down here, we built a pro truck. We raced all around the state of Florida. And then my dad got really sick, passed away in 2017. And at that point in time, like, racing was like something that I wanted nothing to do with, right? Because it's something that him and I've been in the race shop, I've been to the racetrack since I was a week old, and that's what I knew. So I didn't touch racing. I had nothing to do with it. One night I was sitting on the couch and I just said, "Hey, I seen this iRacing. I'm gonna check it out." This was in 2020, so I jumped on or whatever, and I noticed that I had quite a bit of friends that had it. I bought a cheap wheel, literally a Logitech G920, and just jumped on and started racing the short track stuff, the fixed stuff. And then a group of my friends and we all started hanging out, and we were racing like the short track stuff, building our own setups. We said, hey, people would always ask us like, hey, can you share your setup? Or somebody would reach out and be like, hey, do you have time to help me with a setup? And after a while, I was like, sure, like I'll help you out. And then people would be like, okay, I'll give you $5 for helping me out, or I'll give you $3 or $4 for helping me out. And I was like, okay, not a problem. And then eventually we all were just talking, and we were like, well, we could just start up a shop and sell the setups that we're building, since people are wanting them anyways. And that's kind of like how the shop started.
Excellent. How did you get the name Ryco? What's Ryco Motorsports? Is there something there that we need to know about?
Yeah, so I have two children that are younger, and I have my oldest daughter. But my two youngest children that are heavily involved in racing themselves, they're 3 and 2, and they absolutely love it. My son is 2 years old. He sat and watched the entire COTA race today at 2. Riley and Cole are my two youngest kids' names, so Ryco is where that came from.
Excellent.
That's
I was
cool.
wondering how we got to that. Now, let me ask you this. You said you got into the setup. So when people ask you, and I get this asked all the time, how much from the real world actually applies, or have you found that applies into iRacing? Or is there any similarities? Because that's a big question we get constantly.
Honestly, I think it depends on the car. There's some cars that you can utilize some of the real life knowledge, and then there's other cars where it's honestly not even close to realistic. And some of the things that you would do. The one thing that I will attribute and I will say is that a lot of times that the adjustments that you make, such as track bar, shock spring, thing like that, like those are pretty relative to the same adjustments that you would make in real life, right? But sometimes the bases that you wind up starting with are substantially different than what you would do with in real life.
Right, and that's consistent with what we've found too. So with Ryco, now being a company, how many people do you have that are doing setups? Are you doing all the grunt work yourself? Do you have a bunch of guys or a couple guys that solely build for you, or maybe build in certain like B open or C open, be specialists, chassis specialists? How does Ryco work? How do you have it structured so you're able to put out the content every single week for these people?
Yeah. So we originally, like I said, just started as a short track team. And we were just doing modified stuff, right? And we got pretty good at it, and we were like, okay, let's dabble into things. So I made some different friends, racing against different people, brought some people in, and we built a really successful short track team, and we were pretty happy with it. And there was 3 of us at the time. So we were like, well, let's try something different. And I made some friends on the dirt side of the service. Reached out to them, got them interested. And then we had a great opportunity with our eNASCAR team that we have now to bring them in. So right now, our team is basically broken up into 3 groups, soon to be 5. But right now we're broken up into 3 groups. So our short track team, we have 3 builders that handle the short track cars. So the super lates, I build myself. The tour modifieds, the SK modifieds, and the late model stocks. My good friend Jay Jensen builds those. And Travis Rogers builds the legend cars. And then on the dirt side, we have 3 builders as well. Zach McSwain, he builds the pro lates, the super lates, and the big block modifieds. He also builds the umps for league races. Obviously, the umps went to a fixed series, so we don't have to build those on a weekly basis. Tyler Strawlow, he builds dirt midgets, and then Braden Shute builds the 410s and 360s. So we have 3 there. And then our eNASCAR team, we have 2 primary builders that build the official stuff at the start of the week. So Brad Wright builds the A car and the NIS. Obviously, they're relatively the same. And then Brandon Hawk, he builds the B and the C. But then we have Joey Brown that does our Road to Pro program for our customers. And then we also have Brody Kostecki. Australian supercar driver Brody Kostecki is a part of our build team as well. So we have about 10 or 11 builders on, usually 5 to 6 hours a night, 6 to 7 nights a week.
Now,
So, yeah, I
hey,
hear you there.
now Ken, you better give our boy Cody a shout out. Cody Trinity's watching. He's put up a few messages in chat to us. So yeah, we got to give Cody a shout out.
Yeah, Cody's one of our drivers. He
beats me on the track. He beats me on the track an awful lot.
Yeah, we have a pretty decent fleet of guys that race for us. I know a lot of people see our logos on the cars and like, oh, the Ryco guys or the Ryco guys. And we have our core is pretty small. A lot of our customers run our logos, but Cody is our B Open driver. He races the B Open. He's actually leading the B Open points. We have James Houghton. He's from Canada. He races the A car for us. Back-to-back A Open champion, to be exact.
Wow.
Barrett Bonner races for us. He's out of Canada. He races a lot of the C Open stuff for us. Then we have Daniel Nanny from Michigan. He's newer to the team. He was on our team before, but he's come back. Ex-Coke Series driver Brian Schoenberg is also a part of our team. Dan Roper, Jay Jensen, Justin Collison. We also have the whole Zach McSwain racing team as a part of our operation. So we have quite a large group of folks. I would probably say in total, under the Ryco direct banner, up to about 30 people overall between drivers and builders that will test and give feedback and everything along those lines.
Yeah, you've got you're pretty stacked. You got some talented folks there, that's for sure. Glad to hear it. I mean,
hey, everybody on the podcast, everybody that's watching on the podcast, stick with us. We just lost our video stream. The audio is still going. I'll bring that back up here in just a second. But yeah, anyway, go ahead, Trace.
Oh, anyways, I was going tell Ken, yeah, that's some stacked guys there. And when I hear esports, that's a serious group right there. Now, who's your esports driver? I'm just curious because that's where my background came from. Corey Vincent with Overclock Motorsports, but that's been some time ago.
Oh, eNASCAR. So for Coke Series, Ryan Luza races. We build for Ryan Luza.
Okay.
In the Coke Series, and we also build for Derek Bordeaux.
Okay.
So those are our two drivers that we build for in eNASCAR Coca-Cola Racing Series.
Excellent. So now, do you have any development drivers coming up through the ranks, through like C Open and Road to Pro? Who do you got that's budding there?
Yeah. So the guys that I just listed are our main guys that we work with that race for us. We have a program that we started this year for Road to Pro specifically. For folks to join our team for Road to Pro. We have 4 guys right now inside of the top 70 after we're a few races in. So we're pretty excited about that. We had some mishaps at Atlanta, but we were tied for the lead with Daniel Roper going into Atlanta. So we have a pretty good team where our goal is to get some guys through to the Contender Series. And then obviously work the guys internally through to Coke.
Nice. Very good. Very good. I'm glad to see we at least still have a good feeder system going, keep this thing up and going. I like like I said, the program and where it was when I was involved versus the TV exposure. And actually, what they're being paid now is really good. And they put on a great show. And I'm glad to see that's going. Mike, that's all I pretty much have for Ken right now. Ken, if you have anything else you'd like to add, just fill it right in. But I wanted to find out about you and let our viewers find out, what Ryco's about. And like I said, you're the face behind the place. So while we've got you, let's use you for that anyways. So Mike or anybody, if you got questions for Ken, jump in and have at it.
Well, I tell you, I want to move into a different subject, and I might even start with Ken here, but let me share my screen here in the Zoom meeting. Last time I tried to just share a window, we lost our Zoom video feed in my software. So I'm just going to go ahead and just share my whole screen. And can you guys see that there?
I got it now.
Well, it went black again. We lost the feed.
I can see it.
Yeah, I know we all can see it, but when I do that, the Zoom meeting goes black. Let me see if I can help it out here. All you got is technical difficulties. We're trying to work out our first.
Trying to work it out live on the
air. Yeah. Why not?
Chat will be blowing up here in a minute.
Yeah, well, I can get us back one, but there's a picture on the screen of this massive contraption of Ken's. And, jeez.
Is this really his?
Yeah, this is really his. So you guys can see it now. So everybody on the podcast can see it. But I'm going to switch back over and and get rid of this off the screen. And I'm going to switch over and show it to everybody. Now that everybody in the podcast has seen it, I'm going to switch back over to and get the video going here real quick. So that everybody viewing can see what we just looked at. There, we're back up. This podcast screen's back up here. Tracy, we can see Tracy's face. Now let me get this up going here in the.
Ken, is that something you're building? That looks like a midget I drove a long time ago.
Yeah.
I actually, one of my affiliate sponsors, Icon Sim Rigs, they're located actually right here in St. Petersburg, Florida. They actually build them right here, fully custom.
Is that a motion rig?
No, it's not. I got it. It's going to go upstairs, so I can't have motion. Maybe once we get moved into our new house, maybe that's something that we can explore. Put some, maybe some those levelers on each corner and try it that way. But no, right now it's all stationary.
There we go.
I want to see a picture of that when it's done. I hope you powder coat it. I want to see that. That is nice.
Oh yeah, it's going to be fully powder coated. It's also
LEDs,
all tinned in. It's going to be wrapped down both sides. It has a side table built onto the side with the shifter pod with the boot.
All right, all you guys in the podcast now, or watching the podcast, can see Ken's setup here. This is unbelievable. It's like a metal chassis. Oh my goodness. All right. Well, Ken, when do you think that's going to get finished?
I would probably say we're about 2 weeks.
Really,
So
2
2.5
weeks out and it'll be
weeks.
done. You'll be racing it.
Yeah, I would say about 2 weeks, 2.5 weeks at the most. So as you can see, the roof that actually flips back, and then there's a side door there that's framed out. Obviously, that will be all tinned in. That swings open and back, so you can climb in. It's going to have a floor pan on the bottom underneath of all of it. So, yeah, it's a pretty nice setup there. I'm pretty excited about it.
Hey, Cody Trilindy just sent a message for you, Ken. He says, add tires and drive a train. Says you can take it racing.
Yep.
Hey, I want to move on to Brian Stewart now, because I just told everybody a minute ago. I'm going to pop his stuff up on the screen here right now. I was talking about how much money I just helped Brian spend. So here's a picture of Brian's new setup. Let me stretch it out here so everybody can see that. This is what Brian's racing here in our team. Brian, why don't you talk about all the money you just spent and maybe how I conned you into it?
He talked me into spending about $1,700. Got the Fanatic. I think it's the DD1. Is that what it is?
Yep, the DD1. You get the PlayStation version because that's all they had in stock.
Yeah, that's all they had in stock. So I still got to get a wheel for it, but I'm getting used to it. Already, it's something else. I was racing on a cheap Thrustmaster wheel, something my son had, and one day I decided I was going to try racing and hooked his wheel up to a desk and raced that way for a while. And I took a break and come back and decided to start maybe doing a little bit better. So
but when you said the cheap Thrustmaster, I want everybody to know what we're talking about. It was the cheap one. It was the TMX, which is like the T1, which is this equivalent to the T150. And we're talking like $150 package, get you the wheel, the pedals, and everything to get started.
Yeah, so I raced on it for, I guess, well, I took a few breaks there, but off and on for about 2 years I raced with that. I got this thing, and it's amazing.
And so in the picture they can see, your wheel, wheel itself, the base, and what do you got it all hooked up to now?
I just got it hooked up to a regular TV screen right now.
All right, but you have a wheel stand and stuff going there?
Yeah,
and
I got
what
a wheel
kind of
stand. It's I can't remember the name of it.
It's the GT Omega Apex wheel stand.
As you can tell, Mike knows more about it than I know about it.
I sent y'all the links.
Yeah, he sent me all the links. So yeah.
What about your pedals? Which one do you have, and what do you think about them?
I got the now I can't even think of. You put me on the spot now. I'm getting confused. I got the V3s, I think.
Yep.
The V3 pedals, and they're nice. I like them. Like I said, still getting used to the pedals. The wheels, I thought I'd like the pedals more than the wheel, but I've actually liked the wheel more than the pedals. Of course, we hadn't went to a track, haven't really raced on a track I've had to brake a lot yet, so my view may change of that. But yeah, I'm really, really enjoying it so far.
Awesome. Trace, where did you, I want to talk about, you talk about your setup and kind of what's going on. You sent the picture of yours there to Facebook, didn't you? Okay, let me get that here.
Yeah, it's off of Messenger. Get it off of Messenger.
Yeah, I will. So let's just tell everybody kind of what you're racing as I'm scouring here for the picture you sent me.
Well, at the beginning, it was just a computer table, big computer table with just a single monitor, about 20 inches. And back then, it was just a G27, but I've upgraded. And we were looking at Ken's rig, which is interesting because I have sim experience, and I live in Akron, Ohio, so I'm not too far from sim experience. I'm like 20 minutes away from these guys, and they have this like $5 million mansion that they build and sell out of. And I had the opportunity to go over there and see their motion rig, and I'm telling you what, they take that to all the IndyCar races. This thing is serious. And the guy that I used to be on Area 51, the Proving Grounds before it was the Alien Factory, he bought a full rig, and he lives in Iowa there. And
Yeah, how much does something like that cost?
Oh, the thing was ridiculous. The price I couldn't honestly tell you. It was ridiculous money, just silly money. And but anyways, I got to go to this guy's house and actually try out the rig, which really wasn't anything I needed for iRacing, that's for sure. I mean, a couple times in a sprint car was about it. I didn't need anything at home like that. So anyways, I have sim experience wheel. The Fanatic V3 pedals, love them. I think they're the greatest thing in the world. And when I was with Overclock Motorsports some time ago, I was hooked up with a guy, and he had got them when they first came out. And he goes, Trace, you've got to get these things, because he loved driving the F1 car and iRacing. And so obviously I bought them, and they're great. And I've got Derek Spears button boxes, and then I have a SimLab chassis. So nothing like even what Kenny has. I wouldn't even shadow his with this.
When I said, hey, everybody send me pictures of your rig so we can kind of talk about equipment, because this is kind of a slow week in NASCAR stuff because it's the road course. It's like, hey, everybody send me pictures of your rigs. We'll talk about those tonight. And that kind of be mainly what we talk about is in the the general discussion. And I got that picture from Ken, and I'm like, what is that? I was like, what in the world? So,
yeah.
Anyway, I see you got triples up there. So do you race on, what do you race on? Triples, VR? Like, what do you do? Bounce back and forth? Like, what's going on?
Yeah. I have triples, and sometimes I race with them when I'm just really lazy, but I do have VR, and I've got Oculus Rift S, and that's my most favorite thing to race in is VR. I just like the way you set in the car, rather it be the road cars like at Le Mans. I mean, it's just the experience is just amazing. Triples just doesn't do it for me like that. But with all the testing and chassis stuff that we do, it's just faster for me to do it on triples. So I just do it on triples so I don't look like I'm driving out of a tank. But I've had my boy down here when he was younger, and I think I have sent you the picture of that. And he was in a Mazda, matter of fact. That's how we got him to learn how to drive. So he's 15 now, but nothing transitions over. But anyways, so VR, sim experience, the wheel, Derek Spears design button boxes, SimLab racing chassis. I've got sim experience. I've got their rally seat, so that's what I have attached to it. But nice little package. It's good enough for me.
Yeah, and I sent you some links here a while back. We just got your PC upgrade a little bit. Next thing is we need to upgrade is your video card, so you can get you a more higher resolution VR headset. Man, the high res ones are awesome.
Yeah, I look forward to that. That's for sure. That's not going to come anytime soon, but at least something we got to look forward to.
Yeah, and hey, we got Scott on here. Scott, we didn't have any pictures of your rig, but what just briefly tell everybody what you're running.
Might want to check with Scott. I think he's muted.
There he is.
All right, there I am.
Yeah, what are you running, practicing. Scott?
I have a Alienware computer that's about 6 years old. It runs good.
Your rig equipment.
That is part of my rig equipment.
Oh, okay.
That's the CPU that drives it all. Okay. I'm running the cheap Logitech 920 setup, gear shift. I took my pedals off the plastic base and I mounted them to a piece of plywood, and basically my stuff is attached to I guess it's a metal framed desk with a old wood top. I mean, it's like
you did something cool with your pedals though. You did like a DIY inversion, right? Yes, you did an inversion deal, DIY, yeah.
There was a piece of wood that runs back behind where your feet go. And I mounted a 2x4 there and put it on a couple of hinges, plywood, mounted my pedals to the plywood and inverted them. I did do that, yes. And they work really well, and I just got some new springs in. I was racing, I think it was, what was the track before the Coda was the week before? Atlanta, yeah. I was racing in Atlanta, and my brake pedal started feeling funny, and I tore it apart and found my spring was broke on both ends, which was just unreal.
Yeah.
And so then I had to start using my clutch, and I had to order me some new springs for my pedals. But I would like to upgrade. It's just not in my budget at the moment, and this works for now.
Well, hey, a lot of people racing the G29s and are fast with them. There's a lot of Coke drivers that are racing on G29s, man. They are what they are. In fact, let me pop a picture up on the screen. So if everybody looks, this is kind of, I gotta change this picture around, it's really high res. So I guess if you guys wanted to see what I'm showing, you'd have to have the live screen go on your monitor as well. We may actually have to do that. I don't know why the pictures are making the screen go black in Zoom. But anyway, this is just a wheel stand, here. And it's got a G920 on it, and the pedals and a shifter. And I've never raced with the G920. In fact, this one I think is brand new. I never even touched it. I got it on Facebook, a good deal on it. But I raced on something similar. I had the exact same wheel Brian had, the cheap $150 package, the TMX I started racing on. I did all kind of stuff on Xbox with the Forza and Project Cars and like all that stuff. Moved over to PC and got into it and got into VR, and that's how I got into sim racing on PC. And then when I joined iRacing a couple of years ago, I said, you know what, as my birthday, I told my wife, hey, I want to get me some better equipment if I'm going to join iRacing. If I want to go compete with people, if I want to get my butt kicked, I want to do it with nicer equipment, And so I upgraded to a nicer Thrustmaster, and I've upgraded several times since then into the Fanatic ecosystem. But I've got this as my backup. I'm getting ready to go. I'm going to go on vacation in June, and I don't want to miss the championship points for the official series, and I don't want to miss one of my league races. So I'm going to fold this wheel stand up and put it in the back of the van, take it down to Myrtle Beach with me. Down in South Carolina and race on it as a backup. But let me ahead and show you a picture of my actual.
That's addiction there, ain't it?
Hey, that's what my wife said. That's exactly what the wife said.
Hey, if I go camping this year, I'm probably going to load my stuff up in the camper and take it with me.
There you go. I racing out of the camper. You can hook your cell phone up with a USB cable and use it for your. There you go.
I run I did it when I lived out in the woods before we bought this house. I was using cell phone. Everybody would say, "You're blinking." I'd say, "I know." I'm watching you, so you go ahead. I'll stay over here. You stay there.
Yeah, I'm in a camper out in the middle of the woods. It'll be all right. So I threw a picture of my sim rig up there. I got Tracy. I tell you what, Tracy Rumschlatt, whenever I was kicking around what I wanted to buy, I'm kind of cheap. I like to try to find a good deal, but he's like, Mike, just get something nice that you'll never have to worry about upgrading your rig again. So I ended up getting one of those 80/20 deals from GT Omega. They call it the Prime Cockpit. Got that, put it together, and now I've got a DD1 on it. I'm in the Fanatic ecosystem, love it. And I've got the V3 pedals there. You guys can see it. It's a pretty nice setup. I got the seat from GT Omega, the whole package. I am running a Thrustmaster shifter. I like it. I think it's really solid and reliable. I know the Fanatic shifters are, they're a little more high quality in the feel, but I know that people also have some problems with them. So I'm happy as can be with that Thrustmaster. It's old faithful. And so here's a shot of, I've got a handbrake mount onto it. I do some of the rallycross and the pro trucks, and I love doing the rallycross stuff. So I got me a little handbrake on there, and there's my shifter plate mount. And let me show you another quick picture here. And then if you notice the first picture, it has caster wheels on it because it's like sitting out in the middle of the room, and you're probably wondering, well, how in the world does he race? Where's the computer at? Well, kind of limited in space. I got 3 kids. Something me and Ken have in common. We have a bunch of little kids. He was telling me the other night. I said, hey, you got time to talk? And Ken was like, yeah, here in a few minutes. I got to get my kids to bed. And I'm like, hey, brother, I know how you feel. Mine are just slightly older than his. I got 3 little ones running around the house. Ken, I know you got a couple little ones running around the house. So, I'm limited on space. Kids take up a lot of it. So I put caster wheels in the bottom of it so I can roll it out from my computer. And then I roll it right back in. So then here's a picture. Here's a shot of it there under, it's rolled in my computer. And I got a big 43-inch 4K TV as my monitor, and so I don't usually race on a monitor. I'm like Tracy, I love the VR. I'm faster in VR by a couple tenths a lap, just the spatial awareness, the depth of field. And I recently upgraded my graphics card to a 3080 here recently, and I got me that G2, the HP Reverb G2 headset. It's almost as clear as staring at that 4K monitor. And I got I'll put up in the description maybe if any of you guys have the G2, a different facial gasket to get your face a lot closer to the lenses, and it makes the field of view a lot better. I know that a lot of people get that G2 say, man, it's clear, but the field of view is tiny. It's like looking through binoculars. So there's a fix for that. I'll put a link to that, something down in the description. I've had guys ask me where I got my facial gasket before. So that's kind of my sim rig there. So yeah, before we finish off tonight, one of the things that we what we're going to do with this podcast, we're going to kind of catch up each week. And during the normal weeks, this is not really a normal week because we're at CODA, but during the normal weeks, we're going to do kind of a weekly wrap up, a weekly roundup. We'll bring up we'll do a segment for like 5 minutes where we'll bring up the website for iRacing and bring up the B Open, C Open, A Open series and sort through it. See who got the most championship points for the week, who won the most races each week. And different who raced the most, like who's out there, who do we see in every single race, like every time you join to see the same guy who's racing. And then the other one we'll look at is we'll do a little walk of shame. Maybe I'll get a cool little video, or not video but audio to play, like with some funky music or something. We'll do a walk of shame, who has the most incident points, and I'm sure I'll show up on that list sometimes myself.
Yeah, I was gonna say, Mike, you're probably pretty close.
Yeah, I'm sure I'll be on the walk of shame list a lot of weeks, so we'll do that. So that's kind of the format it's going to take. But we're going to have a guest every week. Kim was our first guest. We appreciate him being here tonight. And the guests will participate just like everybody else. So y'all get to know us as a team, but you also get to know our guests, and that kind of mixes it up a bit. But what we'll do at the end of each podcast as we wrap it up, we'll have each of our guests talk about something. We'll have a special topic, something that they specialize in or something of that nature, or just something that's going on. Sometimes maybe even drama. Hey, we all know drama happens on the track. I couldn't imagine. There's been some, I don't know if you, there's an official, unofficial B Open Discord that Nuno runs. And there's I see Ken like nodding his head there in his webcam. Yeah, and there's, oh my goodness, there's over 100 of the regulars in B Open in that thing. And sometimes drama happens on the track and it carries over the Discord, and it just craziness happens. Maybe we'll have somebody on if there's some major drama to talk about the drama. We'll do all kind of cool stuff with our special guests. But the reason, I just want to kind of segue into this. So, when I started iRacing, I was already pretty fast, and Tracy and I kind of talked about this before because I'd done sim racing for a long time, and I just hate subscription-based stuff. I hate Microsoft doing Office 365 in the cloud and want you to pay them $10 a month till you die. I'd rather just go pay them $100 for a license for a software and use it for 7 or 8 years, and not to pay a monthly fee. And so I bought like a set of Corsa. I did that. I did Project Cars 2. I did all these racing games, but I really liked oval racing, and there really wasn't much out there than like NASCAR Heat, and that's not really a simulator, And I wanted to do some more online competition, so iRacing was really the only place to go. So when I joined, I was already pretty fast, but I had zero race etiquette because I'd always raced against AIs and stuff, and who cares if you bump them or knock them out of the way? The AI can't get mad at you. But I found out pretty quick that the people on the other end can get pretty worked up.
You're welcome too, Mike.
Yeah, hey, this is a funny story. Tracy, why don't you tell it? This is a good segue. So this is a hilarious story. So, and I know we're thinking about the same thing. Indianapolis.
It's got to be Indianapolis.
Yeah, it's got to be. It's hilarious. So go ahead and tell them about it.
So, and like Mike leads into, we're at Indianapolis. He's fairly new. He's definitely aggressive. There's no doubt about it. So on the restarts, I've got a guy beside me is just throttling up, jamming on the brakes. This is under caution, right? Just before we even start. And I'm thinking, this guy's trying to win the race in the first corner, right? So it's like, man, I'm done with this guy. I'm so done with him because he's just a missile. He's in the way all over the place. This is before I met him. So we start, right? We're on a restart, I believe it was. We go down there, and I knew he was going to send it into turn 1, and I let him. He did. So he whiffed the corner. I got up underneath him. So we get through 2, and we're drag racing each other down the straightaway, and I know he's going to send it into 3. So he gets underneath me, and he sends it into 3. So I watch him go flying by, and I know he can't make the corner. So I'm in the middle. Mike's on the outside of 3, and there's someone under me. Well, there's only room for 2, and Mike wasn't it. So I gave him just enough room so he could get down in front of me, and I hooked him in the left rear. Just sent him right into the Armco into turn 3, and we all moved on our merry way. So yeah, that was my introduction to Mike Howerton Racing.
Yeah, and that was after about
Excitement.
That's why they call me Mr. Excitement. That's right. And so the story gets better. It's hilarious. We didn't know each other then, nothing. But like I was clipping little replays, and I was just upset. I was like, man, that guy did me dirty. dirty. So I saved the replay after the race and clipped it to show Brian or somebody. Me and Brian's been racing together since the beginning of me being on iRacing. And I just saved it. I saved it like Indianapolis, the date, and like Rumschlad dirty or something like that, right? Didn't know who he was. He didn't know who I was. So then we ended up hooking up, 8-10 months later, I can't remember, year later. And Tracy, we got together, started helping me, and all of a sudden he put 2 and 2 together, and he remembered that. He says, "Hey Mike, do you remember some race in Indianapolis, blah, blah, blah?" And I said, "Yes, I do. I've got the replay of it." I shared my screen and he saw the title, Rumschlad Dirty, and he started laughing, and we pulled it up, and a year and a half or later after that race, we watched that replay and laughed about it. So that's a funny story, but it shows who I was, and the reason I want to say is because I made a lot of people mad. I really wasn't getting offers to be on teams or anything at that point, and I know nothing about setups. Didn't know Tracy at that point,
Didn't know racecraft at that point either.
Yeah, I didn't nothing. And me and Brian, we both had VRS subscriptions, and me and Brian Stewart, my buddy over here, we were trying to tweak them some. I mean, we were basically just making clicks here and clicks there. And Brian, did we really know what we were doing? I don't know.
We had no idea, really.
No idea.
We was just making the best out of it.
Yeah, trying to get faster. And so anyway, I ended up meeting David Lamb, and I was like, I didn't no clue that there was like setup shops out there. And there was a few people that started. Ken, you were one of the first ones. I know the Rocket was out there, and then Lamb was building for them. And he goes, "Yeah, man, here we're selling like super fast sets. It's nothing like VRS." And I'm like, "Okay." And so I started racing them, and that's what I needed, because there was a difference between the guys that weren't on teams or like running VRS, and after about 15-20 laps, everybody else just took off, and you were left setting behind, especially if you weren't taking care of your tires. And David told me, "Hey, if you're racing this setup, it may or may not be the fastest, but it's going to be fast, and the rest of it's on you. It's your driving." And I ended up becoming a customer of his, to him personally, no matter where he was at, because I liked him. We became friends, and I started racing it, and my I rating jumped like 1,000 points in like a matter of like 2, 3, 4 months. And then as the setup shops started coming up and picking up, and there was more and more of them, you heard guys on teams grumbling and getting upset because they were like, these guys shouldn't be up here racing with us. They don't deserve to be. Different things. And NASCAR racers, the drivers driving in the cockpit, they aren't building their own sets, And so I just wanted to work on my racecraft, and Tracy got a hold of me, and we started working on my actual racecraft. And that's what I think the setup shops allows people to go out and just work on their racecraft and say, I don't want to have to be a setup expert, but I want to be able to just work on my racecraft and get better, because I'm going to tell you, setups matter. Ken will tell you they matter. Tracy will tell you they matter, but what matters just as much or more is your 2 hands on your wheel and your feet on the pedals. And that is something that setup shops has allowed people to do, to be able to come in, grab a set, do some practice, and work on their hands, their feet, and their racecraft. And so with that being said, I want to segue into this segment with Ken and let him tell the story about what's going on. I want to put a picture of a screenshot of a notes and a setup here in a minute. And Ken nobody will be able to see it, but the viewers will. And the idea is, when guys put in a lot of work, Trace, I want you to tell you, how much work does it take to build a solid set or a solid base even that you use time after time, Trace? Like what kind of work goes into it?
Yeah, to get the base, you got a good couple hours in it, and that's if you know where to start. If you don't have a starting point, it's going to take you. I mean, we couple days easy. I mean, that's because you have to break it. That's basically what my philosophy is. I have to break it in order to be able to fix it. What works, what doesn't work, and you can't have variables. A lot of times when I test myself personally, it doesn't matter what the weather is, but it has to be consistent, because if it keeps changing, then your lap times change, and you don't know if your adjustment worked or if it was the weather that made it better for you. But yeah, there's some considerable time, and anymore I've got a good couple hours in a base set just to get started on, like if they have an update or whatever, just to find out what the changes. You're talking good 2-3 hours. 5 hours isn't really, you burn 5 hours in a heartbeat if you're just really focused on trying to get these sets worked out. So that's how much time I got in.
And I've been on a couple setup shop teams, and we go in as drivers, help the builders, and we run laps with them, and we test. I mean, it's a lot of hard work, a lot of time and effort goes in. And when I'm a customer buying something, I don't mind paying whatever something costs, as long as I'm getting a good product and I know that the person that the money's going to put that hard work into it. I don't mind it. So that's kind of where we're going to lead into this segue. Is there are a lot of people who go out there and buy sets. I don't think there's anything wrong with it.
Mike, let me interrupt you for a second. Something that I found with your better builders as well too is they will always sign their work, and then that way who that builder is. You can find out. Like I always call them isms, but you can find out what their mindset is, what they do, what their adjustments are. So your better builders do sign them, and that's good because you can keep track of who you're dealing with.
Yeah, absolutely. I want to tell you something else too. They also put notes to help you. I know that whenever a guy named Doug Pickering was building, when I was on the Pay to Win team, and he was building the Super Speedway sets for Lamb, he would put notes in like,
I learned from him. Yeah, he was amazing.
Doug's awesome, man. He used to build at Apex Racing Academy. Anyway, he's an expert on super speedways, and he also does decent on road course building. But anyway, he was like, hey, he put in there like when you go into the pits, drop your rear end a couple clicks on each side, and only take so much fuel. Like he put notes in there to even if you paid attention and read those notes, you would actually be a little faster than the people who didn't pay attention. But so it's a valuable service. I think it definitely has its place, and I've never been one of those guys that has been bashing anybody for buying sets or for a setup shop being there because not everybody wants to build sets, not everybody has the engineering know-how,
right,
and not everybody has the time. People work full-time jobs, have kids, and they want to get on iRacing and relax.
Exactly.
And so anyway, so Ken here, we already talked and we introduced him. He owns Ryco Motorsports, and he's the owner proprietor. And so we cut up and joke a lot and laugh a lot together, and we've done that in the podcast. But we're going to get serious for a little bit because there's something serious going on. I want to tell you, as Ken tells his story, I have personally heard this story from two other setup shop owners in the last 6 months, and one of them was about 2 months ago. And I know Tracy shared on the roadside a similar story from a company that makes setups and sells them. So Ken, go ahead. The floor is yours for the rest of the podcast, and maybe we'll ask you questions or whatever, and maybe the audience might. But the floor is yours for the rest of the podcast. What's going on, and let's talk about this story and what happened to you.
Yeah, definitely. And just real quick before we get into it, we track our on-track time. Just to kind of give the audience kind of an idea. So in the month of February, our A-Open builder on track making lap time. Now this doesn't count like sitting and working in the garage and session time. On track time, 80 hours building setups in February. Our B and C Open builder, 120 hours on track making laps. So as you know, like that's a lot of time invested, and time adds up, right? And when you put time and investments into things, and you sell a product, you expect with policies and procedures that you wouldn't have a situation where somebody would come in and buy your product and turn around and resell it under their name. In the industry now, like there's tons of small setup shops that are popping up here and there.
I can't keep track. So somebody, I'll see a new logo on a car, be like, "Who's that?" And somebody will, tell you whoever it is, and I'm like, okay.
Yeah. In season 4 of last year, we had somebody buy all of our setups and share them on Facebook with a download link, all of our dirt setups. So
that's just what I want to do. I want to go spend all my money and buy something to make me more competitive, and then go give it away for free. That makes a lot of sense. That way I race myself, and everybody else is just as fast as I am, and didn't have to pay a thing. Anyway, sorry, that just makes no sense to me. Whatever.
Good. So I'm just kind of segueing into like some of the malicious things that you see happen, right? So most recently, I was sitting at my computer. And I got an IM from somebody that was an actual team member of a fellow competitor setup shop. PRS is the initials of the shop.
Well, hold on. I know you're holding back, but I'm not here to run. I'm not going to run a person down. Like, so if somebody wrecks me in the race, I'm not going to come on the podcast and blurt their name out and start berating. That's just stupid, right? But I'm just going to do it though. It was Premier setup shop is who this subject. Now, Ken's not saying it, so don't send him a nasty letter. I don't want him to get it. If somebody wants to send me a nasty letter at home, you can. I don't care. but anyway, Ken's being nice. I'm just being real.
Yeah. So, I get a message that, hey, I need to talk with you from this individual from this other shop. I was like, okay, cool, let's talk. 5 minutes later, I get a message from another person that's on this team. Hey, we need to talk. So I was like, all right, let's all talk. Like, let's see what's going on. I kind of felt there was something going on, so I jump in Discord, and these individuals pull up their screen, and they share a screen of a screenshot of our setup that Brandon Hawk had built, that had all of our notes in it. Said property of Ryco Motorsports, had all of our adjustment notes, suggestions, and at the top, it's labeled PRS, Xfinity, and then Season 2, right? So
I've got that on screen now.
So this shop bought our setup, turned around, deleted the notes, turned around and then resold it with just changing the name and forgot to delete the notes, right? So a few
I'm
hours
looking
goes
right.
by.
Ken, I'm looking right at it. It says this setup is property of Ryco Motorsports. Thank you for choosing Ryco. Best of luck. And even so detailed as who the builder put in the notes of what to do during pit stop adjustments.
Yeah, suggested tape.
Yeah.
These are just some items that we do for our customers, right? Like, we put in the time. We want to make sure that our customers have the best product. So this happens, right? And we confirm this. I reach out to the owner, the real owner. I'm told at that point in time that they've sold the shop, and I needed to reach out to somebody else. So I said, okay, I'll do that. In the meantime, the person that actually facilitated their website, ran their social media pages, reached out to me and said, I quit Premiere. I was involved in this. I sincerely apologize that I was involved in this, but I want to come clean with you and let you know, you know, this has been going on for 2 weeks now. This hasn't just been your B open setups. It was also your A open setups and your B open setups for the last 2 weeks. And I sincerely apologize that I was a part of it. So I said, okay, I understand. And then this individual proceeds to send me screenshots from the owner, blaming them for forgetting to delete the notes, blaming them that they wrecked their shop, wrecked their reputation, and basically placing the blame. And at that point in time, this individual that was their social media director also let me know that the said shop has not been sold, and that it is owned by the same individual that it was owned from or owned by before. So basically, in a nutshell, I think like the biggest thing is just awareness of who you're doing business with as a whole, building a relationship with the shop that you're doing business with. Be sure to check the notes of the setup files that you're buying, beneficial wise, right? Like, you've seen in there the notes that we had to help you learn. You may also find out that said shop is selling somebody else's setup.
Hey, here's something else to learn here too, Ken. Hey, if you're a Ryco customer, there's some of you might be out there listening right now. Hey, if you don't know it, the builders put notes in the notes section. Like if you run half the race and you're doing good, and then you go into the pits and you find out other people are faster than you, it may be because there's some dynamic adjustments that need to be made in the pits to keep you.
Hey, we need a
fast.
video on that, Mike. We'll have to make a video on that.
Yeah, actually we will.
Because nobody checks the notes.
No, nobody checks. Yeah, the video will be just like, here's some examples. Check the notes. But yeah, so hey, if you're a customer, check the notes. You could get faster. Anyway, go ahead.
Yeah, and I think like it's two things, right? Obviously, there could be something there you could learn from, or you may uncover some
exactly
egregious activity, behavior that is unacceptable. And I think like some of that is the same place kind of has caused the stigma for all the other setup shops with the behaviors that have been exhibited, right? And that's I'm here to clean that up. I've talked with Mike. Not going to go into much detail right now.
Yeah, because I want to have you back when that stuff happens. I haven't told a soul.
Yeah.
I mean, I promised you I wouldn't, and I'm not. But you got some big things coming, and we definitely want to have you back.
Yeah, we're going to change the industry, the setup shop industry, and it's the solo sales setup shops industry is going to take a complete flip upside down when this comes out, and it's going to benefit the customer and the community of our Ryco Nation, as we call them, in a huge way. One thing that I will kind of allude to is that when you buy a setup from a setup shop, there's always that concern that you're not getting what they're racing. Um, we have effectively 110% found a way to eliminate that concern and allow our customers to validate that our drivers are running exactly what we've sold. There'll be more details coming with that. But we will.
I want to talk about that for a second because, like me and you were chit-chatting the other day. This is one thing I guess we talked about that's no big deal to talk about. But
Yep.
you had brought that up to me. And I told you, I didn't think it was that big of a deal for me. And you were like, and basically you were saying, but the perception's out there that shops, teams don't run what they're selling. I said, yeah, that perception's out there. But to me, it wasn't as big a deal to me because I felt like, hey, I'm buying a product, I get the product, and if it's fast enough where I like it and I'm happy, then I guess it's not that big of a deal to me. But then we started talking about it, and you were like, no, it's an honesty issue. And then that's where you had me. I was like, okay, because as long as somebody's not claiming they're running what they're not claiming anything. They're just saying, here, go buy our stuff and run it, and it is what it is. That's one thing. But if somebody's sitting there telling you, this is what I'm running, and then they're not, then it becomes an honesty issue. And it just makes the whole thing a dishonest thing.
Right.
Yeah.
Because so we all post our wins on Facebook, right? Or as advertising our media. If you're not running that exact setup your customer's selling, and you post that you won that race and you post get the setup here, you're lying.
Correct.
You're selling somebody something fake. What we've done is we create an advanced base setup. Like it's advanced, that's what our guys run. And then if a customer needs help and says, hey, it's a little free or it's too tight for me, then we'll make adjustments and we'll send out an update. Like we're not a shop that when you buy a setup pack at the beginning of the week, you never hear from us again the rest of the week. If we're racing and we find more speed, it's automatically emailed out to you, to your inbox, you download it and it's there. So go ahead.
I'm just laughing because that's something that me and this guy talked to. There was this guy who was just so against setup shops one time, and Tracy knows who I'm talking about. I'm not going to mention his name, but it was just hilarious, the conversation we had. And he was so upset because now he didn't have that advantage that he thought he had because guys are selling fast sets. And then he said, he topped it off with this comment. And if he's watching, I hope he doesn't get upset. I'm not saying who he is, but it's just a hilarious comment because he still feels passionately the way he does, And I obviously feel the opposite. So he said, and not only that, but I work hard during the week to get faster, Mike, and you buy a set and you don't even have to work, and if they get faster, they just give that to you, or that's part of the deal too, they just send that to you too. I was like, I know, man. I said, it's a great deal. I feel like my $10 went a long way.
Yeah, and like my philosophy, like when I started this as a business, it is a business, right?
Yep.
If you go down to the store and you buy something, you expect it to be what it's advertised as.
Yep.
You don't expect it to be something that it's not. And we have a very strict policy. I can see anything that's adjusted on the cars by our guys. We have a very strict policy on this. Like we will literally get rid of somebody if they race something that the customer does not have in their hand. It's the value that I stand by. And recently we've started including like a tighter or less advanced setup along with the advanced setup at the start of the week. And one of the feedback from one of my customers, Richard Elliott, we were just talking about it last night. He'll start the week on the less advanced setup. And by the end of the week, he's able to run the advanced setup because he's learned the track. And then the next time he goes back there, he's able to start with the advanced setup, right? So it's just, for me, it's core values of honesty, transparency, and honestly selling the best product on the market. And as I always say, and my quote is, we can all talk about that we're the best. We can post 100 Facebook posts, but at the end of the day, when you look at the results, they speak for themselves.
Yeah, so I want to ask you a question because I've been I have been on purposely. Well, I was sick for a while. I had COVID and flu A at the same time. My voice was just horrible. Our videos like kind of came to a screeching halt for a few weeks. I lost my voice, and today is the first day. I've been doing a lot. I don't know if you know this, Kim, but I'm a pastor, and so I've been out. I've been out of church for like four weeks straight because I didn't have a voice. I was so sick. I almost went in the hospital. I was so bad. Anyway, I went and preached this morning. I started preaching. About halfway through, my voice started getting squeaky. Didn't hurt, but just squeaky, So I took a drink of water and stuff. And now we've done the podcast. I've been talking a bunch, so I'm happy my voice has been holding out. But anyway, so I kind of got behind on the setup shop review videos a little bit. Is where I'm getting at. But now I'm kind of putting it off on purpose a little bit for a few days, and I'm trying to figure out how I'm going to do this, because here's the deal. When I reviewed the setup services, what I'm calling the setup services, and I think the best combination out there, I'm going to tell every person that's viewing and anybody who comes back and watches this, my personal opinion on the best combination you can have is buy a setup service, unless you're only going to race one car ever, and how fun's that? I like to race all kinds of stuff in iRacing, right? Buy a setup service, and I'd say the two best if you're in the U.S. and you want to race NASCAR stuff too, is VRS or Majors Garage. They offer like $10 a month, gets you like a zillion setups for all kinds of stuff. Not the fastest thing in the world, right? But they're good, solid, and on the road side, some of them are pretty fast. Like my favorite MX-5 setups almost every week, I don't even try anything else because I'm doing all these setup shop reviews, so I'm subscribing everywhere and buying setups everywhere right now, spending all kind of money because if I want to review something, I better be a legit customer. So anyway, so I have my choice of a lot, but I don't even try out. Like, I love the MX-5s. I love Majors Garage. They're fast in the MX-5s. They beat VRS almost every week. But there's other cars where somebody else beats them almost. But whatever. But what I'm trying to say is either get one of those two services to where you could race dirt, you could race rallycross, race road. They got setups for almost everything, especially Majors. They cover a few more series than VRS. And then you find the one series you fall in love with. Right? Like for me, it's B Open, Xfinity Open, and all the guys on our team here. We all race Xfinity Open, and we do trucks and some other things. We race road, but we fall in love and we build. We only build as a team for B Open. And so what you do then is you go out and you find a Ryco, a pay to win, you name the setup shop, right? Elite Performance Industries is a new stronger one that's out there. There's all kinds. I mean, there's multiple, and you find one that you're comfortable with, you like, you build a relationship with somebody that you believe in their product and you believe that they're honest. And you just buy a setup pack each week if you can't build yourself for that one car that you want to be the fastest at, that you fall in love with. And I think personally that's the best combination if you're a driver, is if you want to race multiple things, get that service that gives you everything, and then go find the one thing you love and find a place that's going to offer you the best competitive setup you can get. And I know, Kim, you guys have a great website and you guys offer stuff on all kind of cars that somebody can specialize in, so that's a plug for you guys. But here's my dilemma, maybe you can help me, is that when I review the setup services, nobody's going to fuss with me over who's the fastest, right? I say this is their website, this is what you pay, this is what you get for what you pay, as in like the amount of setups. Like you get a crap ton of setups for $10 a month, race anything, right? Okay, but when I go review, say I go review Ryco, and then I review Pay to Win, and then I review Elite Performance Industry. I'm just naming a few of them here, okay? Everybody thinks they're the fastest, right? And they're proud of it, right? They believe they are. They've all got top-notch drivers and top-notch builders, right? And so when I review those, who cares what your website looks like to a point? I mean, you got to have a nice-looking website. Okay, fine. But it doesn't have to be as like cookie-cutter professional as maybe something else, because you're not selling a pretty website. Yours does look good, by the way. You're not selling a pretty website. You're selling speed. Like, come to us, and we have fast sets. And so isn't every other setup shop. So I'm going to have to go run laps as I do these reviews. I have to run like 30, 40 lap runs, compare them against something else, and post my speeds and my times. And I just know then I'm gonna hurt. People are gonna get upset about it, right? Because what if your builder's like, Mike, you're slow. It's got to be you, or another builder's like somebody else. Like, don't compare our sets there. We're faster. Like, we'll go on the track and I can just see all kind of drama that I'm gonna get from trying to review these sets. I can compare them with the times I get from our team set. I could go compare two setup shop sets against each other as far as like time goes. But like, you got me feet. Like, I'm afraid I'm gonna make all these setup shop owners mad and builders mad when I go review their sets, because I'm reviewing speed here more than like the website and the value proposition.
Yeah, I think you're gonna find yourself in a tough spot.
I'm not the greatest driver.
No, like I think you do well. I think you are now surrounded with a good group of people that will allow you to grow more. Based on prior experiences. But
hey, we don't talk about those anymore unless we're joking.
What are you talking? Talking prior experience. I know what you're talking about.
So,
Mister, I gotta go right now. Right now, I gotta go.
Yeah. So I think I think that the way to look at it, right, is in like any shop that will come to tell you that they're the absolute best every week is a liar. Like, plain and simple, if a shop speaks up and says, I know for a fact every single week, every track
right.
we go to, we're the best, you're a liar. And there is weeks where you're the second fastest car. There's weeks where you're the fastest car, right? The difference is do you keep working or do you just settle, right? And I think
never settle. Right.
You shouldn't. But there are folks that do, or there are folks that what you get at the beginning of the week that's what you get, right?
Yeah.
The three shops that you named are pretty reputable, right?
That's why I named them. They've been around for a while, whatever.
We have a good relationship with Team Mike Conti over at EPI, and I have a good relationship with David. He's just a good.
I think he's just a good guy, I think David's just a fun, good guy. I've known him for a long time.
We've worked together in the past. He's worked for me. So it's, you got to kind of, in my opinion, you're right. Like, you may get some shops that get upset and are like, well, you drive differently. But at the end of the day, this is the review on your driving style, your perspective, your point of view, and what you feel, right?
Right.
So if somebody gets upset over that,
yeah,
I'm sorry, right? Like, at the end of the day, like, you may drive the car differently, right? So one may work better for you. So let's say a Kansas setup, for example, of ours may be so-so for you, but then Charlotte is really good for you. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
so
I do.
It all depends. It all depends.
Well,
so
I think
honestly, at the end of the day, if you give the big picture, right, of like your review that you've went through, and then you review speed and stuff like that based upon your driving style, anybody that has an issue with that is in the industry for the wrong reason.
Yeah, and I think this too. I think it's more like, so like you guys go out and you have your team drivers and you have your builders go run. You're like, hey, we're top the board here, or we're second best car, or first best, whatever. Because you got, but the amount of drivers in iRacing that have a 5K or plus I rating is phenomenally low. Right. I mean, I looked up the stats one time, and like, you're in the top 5% of all racers in a license class. If you have above like a 2,500 or 3K or something, you're in the top 5%. And so maybe I just ought to do these reviews like, hey, I'm just a dude. I'm just a dude. I got about a 4K to 4,500 I rating, give or take a little bit. And I'm just picking this setup and driving it without any kind of special instruction. I didn't pay for coaching. So this may be a similar experience if you get it, if you're a 3,000, 3,500, 4,000 I rating driver. Because no matter what we do, you're not, the only way the setup is not going to make you faster based on your skill. So if you have the skill, somebody has a 3,000 I rating, you can get the same setup as a guy with a 7,000. He's going to beat you every time because it's the skill level, the driving style. And so yeah, maybe I can do that. But that leads me into one other thing. Talk about the way you drive it. And this is how we're going to close up. Maybe the last question or last little topping point as we close up tonight. Tracy, we just did a video about right rear coil binding. And we did a little I think I posted over in your guys' Discord server. We do these little snippet. Me and Tracy's rule is we only do one topic per video. That's it. And it's got to be under 20 minutes, 15 to 20 minutes. So it's easy to digest. And one of those little one topic deals we did was right rear coil bind. And I've been asking around about, because I've just noticed that I haven't gotten any slower. Okay. Our team sets haven't gotten any slower for B Open. But there's some guys that have gotten like faster. I mean, like, I'm like, what? How did they get so fast? Like, not that they're a bad person, but last time we were there, we were more competitive, you know, and my set didn't get any slower. And so I started asking around, and everybody's saying, man, it's the right rear coil bind. These guys are just nuts faster running this right rear coil bind, and we're trying to figure out how to build for it and drive with it. And so maybe it's my driving. Maybe if I buy your set, it's got a right rear coil bind. I don't know if it does or not, but if it does, because I haven't bought one of yours in a while, if it does, maybe I just don't know how to drive it yet. I need to get some more time in the car to learn how to drive that right rear coil bind to be faster. So what are your thoughts on this whole trend towards a right rear coil bind? I don't want you to give away any like trade secrets or nothing, but just in general. I mean, I just want to know your thoughts on that.
Matt Holden thinks it's the answer to speed.
Really?
I'm not like I said, I'm not going to like you said, I'm not going to divulge into it, but I'm
not asking
conversations with Matt, and I have a real good relationship with iRacing. And Matt has said, you know, you tend to get some speed out of the coil binding sort of stuff. And for some people, though, it may work. For some people, you may burn the right rear of the car off, and it may not work for you, right? Like, at the end of the day, like, that may be the case. It honestly just depends. I think that anytime that you do something, you know, extremely different, the car is definitely going to handle differently. You're going to have to learn to create the rhythm differently that you're driving the car. And that all attributes back to also what information is prepared for you, you know, if you're a customer coming in to prepare you to go into that race, right? And it's important that you're provided with that information. And us, like we've talked before, Mike, when we talked the other night, our builders now, they either do like a 30-45 lap replay video, where you can see their throttle and brake inputs along with the Q lap, or what we've been doing recently, literally in the Legend car all the way to the Cup car on asphalt. All of our builders are doing an instructional track video for every car every week, going through, you know, transition, and we send out stint lap times and things like that, so that you can kind of peg along with the build weather, so that you can compare, right? And if that's what it's built for, right, and you practice and practice and practice, you can start to compare yourself, go back and watch brake and throttle inputs, and learn the driving rhythm, right? I think that anytime that you try to learn something new, all the information that you can arm yourself or prepare yourself with is very important. So long story short, according to the information that I've been given,
me too.
It is beneficial, but doing it correctly is a different story.
Yes, and that's what we're trying to. That's what me and Trace are trying to iron out, and the guys, you know, here at our team are trying to iron that out. So yeah, I just wanted to give a little confirmation. You'd heard the same thing basically in general. Is kind of what I was looking at. What's that, Scott?
Yeah, I was just going to say again, it's been really nice talking with you, and I'll be checking Ryco out or getting a hold of you later. But anyway, I got to get off of here, so I'm going to disappear for a little bit.
Yep, we're wrapping up here. Second,
when I get back, I'll jump back on.
We probably won't be. We're wrapping up, Scott. But hey, thanks for being with us, Scott. We appreciate it.
Yeah. Enjoyed it.
Hey, Ken, I'll tell you what I don't do. I usually don't ever say anything negative about people, but what I do is I love to shout people out. Trace, we've been doing that in our videos, right? Like when somebody does something good, like you know, people there's a whole group of people that refuse to pay for setups. So no matter how cheap you get, it's like their principle. They're not going to, right, Ken? I mean, there's that group, right? God bless them. They're out there, you know, and they're the I'm going to build or I'm going to tinker group, you know, or I want to, you know, don't want to pay out a principle. And so one thing that Majors does does is they offer these free baits. They aren't the fastest thing in the world, but they're something you can tinker with. So we said, hey, give them a shout out. That's something cool they did, right? But I don't sit there and talk about all the other setup places that don't do that, right? So I want to give people shout outs. So one thing I'm going to do for you is I want to give you a shout out, and that is tell a cool story about one of the first times I ever met Cody Trelindi. And we were in Watkins Glen here a while back as a road course. And I actually do like racing the Watkins Glen no matter what the car is, even if it's NASCAR stuff. And anyway, we were going down through there, and all your guys were just fast. And I'm like, I'm not that bad. I mean, I'm not great here, but I'm not that bad. Like, what is going on? And so after the race, I just straight up asked Cody. I didn't know he raced for you at that point. I saw him one there, and he was one of the first conversations I ever had with him. I said, hey, Cody. I said, you guys are like in a different area code than me. I was like, what's going on? He just said, man, I drive for Ryco. Their set is just amazing here, right? And I said, oh, okay. I was like, what's $10? I'll go buy it and try it out. And I'm gonna tell you something, dude. I went and bought it, and I shaved almost 2 full seconds off my lap time, not changing anything with the way I was driving, just straight to setup. And so if you go back and look at road course weeks, you'll probably find my name under the customer list from that point forward. And they've been consistent on road courses. You guys have had awesome road course setups. You knock them out of the park. Now, I know that's not the most popular week, and you probably don't gross the most sales during road course weeks. But I do want to give you a shout out for that. In fact, I haven't raced Cody yet at all in Be Open. I was telling everybody at the beginning of the podcast I was probably going to do one and done to get maybe 50 or 60 championship points, whatever I can get, because everything's based off your road license and everything, so the championship points are lower this week. But I'm probably going to go spend $10 with you here, and then tonight when I get off here tomorrow morning, so that I can get my one COTA race in. I'm going to go buy your guys' set to do it, because I bought a couple of them now on the road courses, and you've convinced me that you guys are probably I don't know if you're the fastest this week, because I won't know, because you're the only one I'm going to buy, right? But point is that you've been consistent enough on the road sets that I don't even look anywhere else, right? Kind of like I was telling you in the MX-5s when it comes to VRS or majors, I don't even try VRS anymore, because majors is faster so much I don't waste my time, right? So I'm just giving you a shout out, man. Your guys' road course sets have been rock solid. I'm a customer of them. I openly admit it. And I'll spend $10 for one race, I guess. But I just wanted to give you that shout out. It's something.
I appreciate that.
Yeah, it's something I have personally bought and am a fan of.
I take pride in that, right? And honestly, Mike, like you said, like road courses weeks, they can be slower, they can be good, and that, to me, what matters at the end of the day is like the success that we see come through, right? Whether it's 10 people, 80 people, like the success stuff is what keeps us going. The feedback, the excitement, like somebody winning their first road course race on iRacing in a stock car, right? The excitement that people have from that, right? Like Cody this week. Cody's won B Open, Cody's won C Open. He's run up front. And Cody, he's not a road course guy, right? Nanny has never won a C Open on a road course this week, goes out and wins. Runs third the first race to Parker White and Nick Ottinger. Those are some pretty stout names to run third to for the first time ever running COTA in a truck. So pretty excited about it, and I really do appreciate that. I have to attribute it to our guys, Brandon and Brody and Brad, and obviously Brody's experience in the supercars is second to none, right? So I appreciate that.
Yeah, you're welcome. We're going to go ahead and wrap this up tonight. We're going to do a round table as we finish. And Ken, I'll save you for last to give you the last word before I wrap up. Trace, what do you got for us, man? We got a few of us left hanging here tonight.
Well, I appreciate Ken coming on. Definitely enjoyed talking with you, man. Great to meet you. It's just nice to know that there's going to be some change on the horizon. I think that's what we need. I mean, things are getting a little stagnant in the iRacing world, and with the setup shops, everybody and their brother has one. It seems like it's hard to find all the good ones, but with that, being said, that's good. That'll groom a future, and hopefully clean some of this stuff up. I hate it that we do have people that like copying stuff and putting their name on it and rebranding it. That's not good for anybody. But hopefully that'll get corrected. other than that, that's pretty much all I got. Like I said, we're going to cut some videos here for next week and see what we do there.
Yeah, me and Tracy's Nice just started. We've got probably an hour and a half of video cutting for all of our little one-topic videos for the week. So we'll be doing that when we get off here. Brian, man, it was great having you, and I hope you're going to be, you're part of our team here at Area 51. Hope you keep coming back to the podcast. We enjoyed having you, man.
We'll do it. It is getting a little past my bedtime, though. You know this.
Hey, man, I tell you what, the start of this podcast was past your bedtime, man. I know you.
Mike's right.
you go to bed early and you get up early.
I'll be up at 4 or 5 a.m.
Exactly. Oh, man. All right, Ken, give you the last word here on the round table tonight before we finish up.
Thanks. I just want to say thank you to you guys for having us on. Thank you to all the Ryco Nation customers that support us. Those other setup shops that also support us along the way with their purchases. We always love them. And we are always just going to continue to raise the bar, right? And continue to push the standard of expectation. The community can expect bigger and better. And it's coming. So we're really excited. And again, just thank you so much for having me on.
Awesome, guys. We appreciate all you guys who stuck with us. We've had a bunch of viewers come in and out, and we've kept a pretty good number. We appreciate everybody being here with us here at the Alien Factory podcast. This is our episode number 1. Keep coming back every Sunday night, 10 p.m. We're going to be hitting these podcasts. They'll run about an hour, maybe a little longer, anywhere from an hour and a half, depending on what topics we're talking about. So we appreciate you being here and viewing with us. Go down in the description below. We've got a couple of links down there. There's a link to our Facebook page, our YouTube channel. If somebody's sharing this in another venue besides YouTube and you're not watching on YouTube, if you're watching in Discord or whatever, if you want to check out our YouTube channel, all you got to do is type in youtube.com/Area 51 Alien Factory, all together there, no spaces, and that will take you directly to our YouTube channel. We're up to we're around 200 subscribers right now, so we're really taking off. It took us like I don't know, Trace, like a month and a half to get to our first 100, and then we've gotten our second 100 in like less than 2 weeks. So we're really taking off. So I just want to personally thank you guys who are watching and viewing the videos. It's really validating what we're doing here and making us want to keep doing all these videos and these help tutorials on setups and stuff. And Tracy and I really appreciate that. Also down in the links below, we have, Major's Garage give us an affiliate link where if you click on it, gives us a commission credit. And help me out. I'm doing all these setups. Honestly, I'm doing all these setup shop review videos. And so if I can get some of my subscription there paid for, it helps me buy more, so I can do more reviews for you guys. That helps me out here at the channel with that. If you click on that link and purchase anything from there, and Jeff Maconi reached out to me and said, hey, I want to give all your subscribers 10% off. So if you use the promo code Area51 at checkout there at Maconi Setup Shop, he gives you, our viewers, 10% off. We get nothing, but we're just trying to help you guys out. So anything that we can arrange, kind of like when you go to the doctor and your insurance negotiates the rate down for you. So he said, hey, just want to help out the viewers, get you 10%. I've been working on Ken here. We'll see if Ken gets us a 10% off code for you guys who watch the videos or not. I'm just kidding, Ken. I'm not putting you on the spot. I've been teasing you about it. But anyway, anybody who out there who owns a setup shop or anything, if you want to give our viewers any kind of a discount code, we're not like trying to promote one shop over another or nothing. We're just, hey, if somebody contacts us and wants to give you guys something, I'll let you know about it in the videos. Put it down in the description so you can click on it. And yeah, so we're open to anybody. We want to work with everyone. And really, Tracy and I and the whole team, we're just wanting to make the community better. Guys complain all the time, but they don't do anything to make the community better. And so we don't want to be complainers. We want to be positive, and we want to make the iRacing and the community better for everyone. And I think that's why we're here. I think that's why Ken's here. I think that's why he has his business. Obviously, he makes money from it, but I genuinely think he wants to try to make the community better. And so that's why we're all here. That's why we're here at Area 51 doing what we're doing. So, guys, we'll be back. We'll have our on-demand videos all week. Tracy and I is getting ready to cut them. I still have a couple. I got real busy the last couple of days and didn't put them up. I got a couple left over from last week, plus we'll cut some more for this week. We're getting ready to do that. So we're going to get busy tonight. We're glad you were with us. Keep coming back next. So look for those on-demand videos this week. And then next Sunday at 10 p.m., we'll be right back here for the Alien Factory podcast. And we will definitely do a weekly roundup segment for the NASCAR series next week in the podcast, since we're going to be back at an oval this week at Richmond. So, guys, that's all we've got for you tonight. Thank you for tuning in. And as always, we will see you in the next one.